Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 663, and today's date is May 10th, 2015, and the title of this episode is The Current Economic Collapse News Brief. Now, before I get started, I just want to wish all those mothers that are celebrating Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day to you. I also uploaded the Bill Holter interview. You can go right to the X22 Report Spotlight. Just type that in to YouTube. It should pop right up. If not, you can come over to the X22Report.com site. I do have the video listed on the right-hand side, or you can go to the X22 Report YouTube channel. You should see the link on the right-hand side for the X22 Report Spotlight. Let's get right into the economic collapse news. Now, we understand the United States government central bankers, they're out there telling us that we're in this recovery. They told us that unemployment has come down to 5.4%. Everything is fantastic. But there are certain things that really don't make sense. I mean, the count of employment is rapidly increasing, letting us know that there's more and more jobs. But nothing else is associated with this. It doesn't fit. I mean, household spending has declined. Retail sales have declined. Retail shops have been closing. People have been being laid off. Wholesale sales continue to fall off. We have yet to see inventory turn lower with sales. The latest estimates from the Commerce Department shows that the wholesale sales for March were down by 1.3% year over year. In seasonally adjusted terms, sales have declined now for 8 consecutive months. In seasonally adjusted terms, wholesale sales, exclude petroleum, are down 3% since so far into 2015, showing no net growth since July of last year. So again, when we look at the economy and we look at the information they're feeding us, it doesn't fit together. Something is going on here. And we can see that, yeah, the real economic indicators that we're looking at don't match up with their manipulated numbers. And that's exactly what they are. They're manipulated numbers. Now, we understand with Obama, he's bringing in illegals into this country, trying to fill that gap of the lower paying jobs, getting these people to take out loans to push the debt, take out student loans, take out auto loans. Actually, a lot of these illegals are going into corporations because they're not under the umbrella of Obamacare, so the companies do not get hit with a $3,000 penalty. There's many different agendas with bringing in these illegals. And we understand that there's a U.S. District Judge, Andrew Hanen. He had an injunction holding President Obama's executive amnesty program. But it looks like Obama doesn't care about what the judge says because he's continually, with the help of the Department of Homeland Security, they have issued more than another 2,000 job or work permits. And these are 3-year work permits. So basically, he's not following the law whatsoever. He's just bypassing it completely. And of course, if you realize and notice this, that our government officials, they're government leaders if you like to call them that, they're not even leaders, but they like to tell us that we are a land of law, the rule of law, but it's only for the people. They don't like following the laws. They say, well, the reason we're not following it is because of, so-and-so. But you need to follow the law. And a judge says, no, you cannot issue more work permits. But he doesn't care, and he's continually doing this. We understand in Venezuela, the United States government central bankers have said it's a national security risk. They're a threat. And Maduro is out there. And we know the U.S. government would love to get into Venezuela. They'd love to get their hands on all that oil. And they would love to put the dollar to be used with the oil, to be sold, to prop up the system. And we can see right now Maduro is out there and he's saying that the U.S. is losing footing in the international arena. Venezuela is moving closer with Russia, not to the United States, and many of the countries in South America are moving away from the United States. And as soon as this occurred, I reported this a going back, we understand the United States said, oh, wait, we would love to work out what is going on with the United States and Venezuela. Even though we said you're a national security threat, you're a terrorist organization, we would love to work this out, because what they're seeing is these countries are saying, okay, the United States doesn't want to work with us. We'll just go look at China. We'll just go look at Russia, and we will deal with them. And of course, that's when the United States gets worried. This is when they say, whoa, 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 whoa. We didn't mean what we said. We would like to work this out. Now, we understand out in Iran, the P5+1 deal is moving forward, but there are certain government officials that have different agendas here in the United States, because our government is run by the central bank, by other countries. A lot of our government officials are being paid off. And right now, Iran is making deals with many different countries. The Iranian energy officials announced for the first time they have been able to produce a fluid which is used to drill oil wells, therefore breaking the U.S. monopoly in the field of doing this. The Iranian experts at the Ministry of Petroleum were able to construct a gas microbubble generator which facilitates drilling into oil wells, a technology which has so far been used by only the United States. And we can see, if these sanctions are ever lifted, or even if the United States doesn't lift the sanctions, other countries are going to do business with them, and they're going to leave the United States out of this. And again, we've seen that these sanctions against different countries, they don't work. They're obsolete today because a lot of the countries are using their own currencies. This is why the president even announced in Cuba we had sanctions on them for 50 years, and guess what it did? Nothing. But they're still placing sanctions on Venezuela, on Russia, North Korea, Iran, Syria. They don't work. Countries know how to bypass them. They barter. And now that they're trading in their own currency, they could care less. We see that the Saudi-led coalition, they launched airstrikes on the Yemen capital's airport. They're continually hitting it. Now, this is the third attack on the runway, and they're continually bombing the area. They're doing it on purpose because they didn't want humanitarian aid coming in. But we see right now that humanitarian aid is coming into the area. Iran is planning to send a ship with humanitarian cargo to Yemen. The ship will carry about 2.5 tons of humanitarian aid, including food and medicines. Some 50 Iranian government officials and public figures will travel to Yemen on board the ship with humanitarian aid. Now, we have to watch this situation very closely, because as we know, the United States government central bankers, they might see these ships coming in once again and say that, oh, they have arms for the Houthis. We must board these ships. We must block them. Now, I'm not saying they're going to do this, but this is something to look out for and keep an eye on. We understand that John Kerry, along with the Saudi officials, they said they want a 5-day truce to bring in humanitarian aid. And we see the Houthis said, yes, we will agree to the 5-day truce. The ceasefire is going to allow humanitarian aid come in. We understand the United States was under a lot of pressure because they were not allowing any humanitarian aid in, and the people there in Yemen were suffering. But this was the point of the whole thing. The Houthi forces said in a statement that they would react positively to any effort that would help alleviate the plight of the Yemeni people. Now, we understand the U.S. government central bankers, their goals are always the same. They're trying to get into Syria, Iran. They want Yemen back. They want the puppet regime put back into power. We understand they want this in Libya. They want this in Lebanon. And they're trying to drive the people back in Iraq. And we can see they're making a play for Syria right now. Training is going on with the Free Syrian Army. More rebels are coming out, of course. Some of them defect to the Islamic State, which is a proxy army. And they're going on the theme of chemical weapons, chlorine weapons. And a new report just came out that chemical weapons inspectors have found traces of precursors for toxic agents at a site in Syria. that the Syrian government did not declare. So they're finding traces now of the sarin gas, and they're saying, yes, see, they have chemical weapons and they might be producing it once again. Experts from the Hague-based Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons said samples that the inspectors took in December and January tested positive for chemicals needed to make deadly VX and sarin nerve gas. This is a pretty strong indication they've been lying about what they did with sarin. So here they are bringing the case back up. They're pushing the propaganda that, yes, they're going to be using sarin. They have produced sarin. They might be producing it once again. They might have stockpiles hidden. This is all to build the case for when the Free Syrian Army, the Islamic State, the coalition forces make their move into Syria. Right now, there are reports are now filtering in that preparations for a direct military assault on Syria are being made by Turkey with Saudis and Qataris. These reports are suggesting that the military offensive will occur very soon. Some reports speculate that such action should take place further down the road, most likely the end of June going into August. How interesting. We've seen this time and time again where they plan to hit certain areas when Congress goes on vacation. And when do they go on vacation? They leave the end of July. So coming up this summer, we might see the same exact thing occur. Come the end of July, we might see some type of false flag event occur in the beginning of August or right at the end of July. Something to look at, and we've seen this last year and the previous year. They've done the same exact thing. And at this moment, Turkish forces are reportedly gathering at the nation's southern border and Syria's northern border in a fashion that can signify little except the posturing for military action. The Turks and the Saudis are now in high-level talks regarding an agreement to form a military alliance to remove Assad in Syria. And this is what it's all about. They want Assad removed. The Qataris want to build a pipeline going through Syria. They want to capture their natural resources and place the dollar in the country so all the other countries have to use the dollar to pay for that oil, and this will prop up the system. And if this P5+1 deal does not go through, because we understand this deal has nothing to do with nuclear, this has to do with capturing their natural resources. If it does not work, they will invade Iran. They're already preparing for this. So we see military training happening in Ukraine. They're already starting the propaganda there, where Russia is already building up their forces. United States is already in there training, bringing in weapons and lethal weapons. Aid is already being brought in. We see it happening in the Middle East. And now we see Ron Johnson is saying it would make much more sense, since we have the Islamic State here in the United States, to go fight the Islamic State in Syria, in Libya, in Yemen, in Iraq first. And this is the push for the authorization for war. It's like a perfect storm coming together right now. We have a storm in Ukraine, we have a storm in the Middle East, and we have the Islamic State to push the authorization for war, and they are definitely preparing to go forward and to do this. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.